So the KVD Boom is actually really good, and I've taken on pro solo mode bosses, which I will show you throughout this video, and I go through this whole build with you as you can make exactly this, and it is really good. I've had a lot of fun with it, and it's a lot more fun than some of the sniper builds which I've been seeing. So this build consists of the KVD Boom, the Cam Crank, and we have the 4 of the Shelterer set. We do have the Drifter Gauntlet because it adds extra status damage, and when affected to burn, weapon damage plus 15% and crit rate. So it just raises that, it's really good. And we also have the Falcon Shoes because I couldn't really find anything else for shoes. We just get an extra 20% off our stamina cost, which is not too bad. We just added the barbecue gloves. These are actually a lot better than the Drifter Gauntlets. So this is when affected by burn, weapon damage and crit rate, which actually isn't that good, and I don't know why I picked it, so the other ones might have been better. These ones do burn damage frequencies increase with the number of stacks up to 100%. Now, I'm just going to show you a clip of what I was just doing. As you can see, I used all my ammo for that. But the clip before, I was getting about 18,000 DPS with the burn build. Now that's giving me 25,000 DPS, which is crazy. So those gloves are massive, and we're going to try this one too. Well, we're not getting too much, but we don't have the Pyro Dino out. However, I think this is fine. But this build is really good, and as you can see here, we can actually take on pro bosses. So we can take on the Shadow Hound, we can take on the Arachnid, we can take on... The only ones we struggle with is the Giant, because he takes 0 elemental damage, which kind of sucks because he's a big tree mate, like he's a big tree man, right? Is by what he looks like, and he doesn't take fire damage. So I have done it with this build, but even a worse version of this build, I've been able to take on the Giant. However, it is difficult, and you do not get the amount of damage that you would if burn was applied. Now, as you can see here, we actually managed to get to 21k DPS, which is insane. This is just our side weapon as well. But, yeah, this is crazy. These barbecue gloves really help out. So, yeah, barbecue gloves I would highly recommend. Now, let's get into actually what the build is, and I will show you that now. So, we have the KVD Boom, the Cam Crank, all the Shelterer stuff, the barbecue gloves now, and the Falcon Shoes, like I said. So let's go through what we have on the KVD Boom. We've got a rapid shot style, which gives us extra elemental damage and then more crit rate. And we have rapid shot style with extra weak spot damage because we are going to be attacking the weak spot. So, and I think that's the only one I could find. I couldn't find one with elemental, so that's fine. Weak spot damage is good too because that's what we're going to be hitting. So even if, like the Giant, we can't do elemental damage on it, we can at least do the weak spot damage there, which is good. So with this, I don't have all the accessories. I probably should do that. So at the minute, we don't have anything here, but we got the tactical rifle scope. I just like this one. It gives me a nice zoom from short to long range, and we have the short suppressor on it. And we are using tungsten at the minute because I made loads of this and then I've been changing builds and I still had loads left over. Did on the other one, but that's gone. And the mod we're using for this is the Ember's Talent. So when burn is removed, stacks only minus 50%. So you don't lose all of burn, you just lose the 50%. So that's a lot better and it keeps the burn going. And we have elemental damage plus 8% on this one, and the rest of it is kind of okay. Not too bothered about that, but to get that gold was very good. That's what I'm running for this. He runs pretty well, and this is going to be clearing out the mobs. This clip you're seeing now is just me going through, and they're kind of easy mobs, but this works just as well if you're in silos and stuff. If they're all bunched together or near each other, they explode off each other, and it does like 13k damage, which is absolutely insane, like to all the enemies in that AoE, and then they get the burn, and then they die, and then they blow up. So you just have like continuous enemies popping up and blowing off. It's great. But next we go for the KVD Boom, which I said has the rapid shot style. And we have Flame Resonance on this. So max burn stacks plus 2%, burn duration minus 20. So it doesn't matter because you're just hammering away, and we got quick reload on this and stuff. We have the plus 6% burn damage on it as well. That extra 2 burn stacks is actually crazy. It takes you from like 3,000 damage to like 6,000 damage per turn. So it almost like doubles it. It's great. Yeah, so I've been running that on this, and for the accessories, I've got the muzzle small break. Again, the tactical rifle scope. I think I always use that scope. I find it great. The triangle grip on the tactics, and again, we've got the last bit of tungsten ammo for this one. Now, for the shelter hat, we've got these because if I can select this and have a look, they do status damage reduction, element damage plus 8%, and then we have each weapon hit grants 1 stack of deviant energy. Every stack of deviant energy grants 1% of element damage up to 20. So you can get extra 20%. And then reloading removes half of the total stacks. That's fine, particularly if we use the LMG, because the LMG has a large mag, so we reload a lot less. However, increase max deviant energy stacks by 10. So you can now get another 10% on top of this, and grants 2 additional stacks when hitting a weak spot. So we always try and aim for weak spots. That's one thing I always do. I think everybody does. That's just something we always do. But yeah, so that is why we use this set. I think this set is great. The reason we use you is for the burn damage. I can't believe how much difference this made. So yeah, this adds 20% status damage, and burn damage frequencies increase with the number of stacks up to 100%. That's crazy. And then this is just for the rolling stamina cost, because I honestly haven't found anything else that works for the shoes. Maybe if I removed something, and I don't know. I personally feel like this set works really well for me. So with the shelter hat, we have Deviant Expert. So the range is down, but we have better fire rate, and the fire rate we want up, which is why we have the rapid style, because every 7 shots on the crank is actually giving us a stack of burn. So we need to fire as many shots as possible. The same goes for the LMG. The LMG is kind of random. It's got like a percentage of if it may or may not, and most of the time it does cause the burn pretty quick. So as long as you're getting the bullets into it fast, you're stacking that burn up and it's going really well. Plus it adds 20% status damage, which is crazy. And then we do only have the plus 2.4% on this, but that's fine. It works well. And then for the mask, we have the Blaze Amplifier. So every stack of burn grants 3% psi intensity damage, which again is crazy. Plus we've got the 4.8% burn damage on this one. For the shelter atop, we've got the quick comeback, just because it has the element damage on this one and the attribute effect, and it gives us quicker movement speed if we're healing, if we need it, and it refills the magazine. Because if you've got a low magazine and you're low health, you just heal up and you mag straight back, and then you can get back to shooting them. Easy peasy, and really helpful with an LMG as well. We do have the shelter pants. We've got precision charge. So for every 10% weak spot hit rate of the previous magazine, element damage plus 4% up to 24%, lasting for 10 seconds. Reloading resets. That's okay. And honestly, like I said, we always aim for the weak spot. So we should have got a lot of weak spot hits, and we should have raised it by that 24% quite easily. And then we do have the extra element damage on there for 4.8% there. And for the gloves, we have these barbecue gloves, which actually look quite cool. Status enhancement. This does 20% status damage, which is great, plus 4.8% element damage, which again really helps with the stacking the burns up there. And finally, for the Falcon shoes, we have taking no damage within 4 seconds grants 20% melee, weapon, and status damage. So we're just raising the status damage and the blaze damage and all of that. And this has a weak spot damage because I haven't actually got one with element damage yet, but this works. As you can see already, this is working. We're up to like 25k damage per second now. So this is the build. I am going to show you the Mimetics Cradle thing in a minute, because I forgot to do that on the last one. But I found I did most of like the hard bosses and stuff with this, and then the pro stuff I started with this until I think the missing piece was the barbecue gloves. So I wasted 8,000 on the drifter gauntlets. Okay, don't get the drifter gauntlets. I found that out this video. That's good. We're both learning this video. We're all learning together. Now, if we look at the cradle, I have automatic weapon enhancement, so damage plus 20% when holding SMG's rifles, and reload magazine capacity reserve upon defeating an enemy. So, I mean, we're also reloading the magazine, which helps, especially with the LMG when you're going to be killing the enemy and then hoping to carry on if there's a lot more enemies around. You have the Deviant Master, having it fight alongside grants damage 50% against Deviants. That's okay, like that. Reduces the cooldown of healing items by 30% and increases the healing effect by... That's just, like, there's some throwaway ones. That's the throwaway one. This is as well, just extra movement speed I think is good. And then we do have weapon damage plus 25% for 4 seconds after switching a weapon. You don't have to, that we can just switch up if we want to. I just couldn't find another one to do, so I put that one on. But then we do have, after hitting a weak spot, status damage 25% for 3 seconds, which, as we're always aiming for that, we should have an extra 25% almost all the time. So that's amazing. We do have killing an enemy with continuous damage, such as burn or frost, increases continuous damage by 20% for 10 seconds, stackable up to 3 times. So, again, pretty crazy. And to me, that reads continuous damage by 20%. And if you can stack that to 3 times, that's 60%, which is mental. And then you've got, based on the number of nearby units affected by burn, increases blaze damage by 15% per unit. Like, that's not going to be that useful, especially against bosses. If there's a big horde of them, yes, that will help. But other than that, you're not going to really use that one too much. But again, there isn't anything else to pick. And the last piece of the puzzle is the Pyro Dino. Because just at the level 1 that he is now, autonomously attacks enemy targets, increases targets' blaze damage received by 19.6%. So we're also getting more blaze damage from this guy. Now this guy's great. He also like sets them on fire and adds burn stacks himself. If you want me to show you how to get him super quick, he literally takes no time at all to farm, like 1 minute. But if you want, I can make a video on that, just showing you how we do it. But yeah, I honestly, especially with these new barbecue gloves, I've been very impressed with how this kind of has played out. And particularly, like, getting to 25k damage, that's something that before we were struggling to get past 10k. And I finally got it to like 14, 15k, and now we got it to 25k just with them gloves. Yeah, them gloves, the barbecue gloves, are exactly what's it. So guys, that's going to be it for this build. But if you want to see a different build, kind of like a Doombreaker, which is insane and can do up to 70k damage. Actually, it can do even beyond. I got to like 80 or 90 one of them. Go check out that video after you've given this one a like if you enjoyed it. And I will catch you all in the next one.